Welcome to the Mid-Week Tease with me, Adelle Onyango, where I share some random and not too random thoughts on things. And in this episode, let's dive into this 30s thing. So I've just turned 36. If you're listening to this on Wednesday, the 5th of February, today is literally my birthday. And I want to share some lessons learned, especially as I settle into the awesomeness that is my 30s. I've narrowed them down to 10, so let's get into it. The first one is everyone doesn't think the way you do. Everyone doesn't have the same perspectives as yours because people's experiences and how they interpret reality is different. I heard this really great analogy on this. Someone driving a car and someone riding a motorbike on the same road are having two different experiences of the same thing in the same environment. I mean, only one is wearing a helmet. And this lesson has proved to be so important for me in conflict. Not everyone is going out of their way to hurt you just because you're having an argument or friction with them. They might just have a different perspective. And when I go into conflict with that in mind, it's easier for me to see the other person's perspective and maybe even have mine and their truth sit very comfortably across each other. Number 2, your opinion is not always necessary, and it's okay not to share it or even admit when you don't have enough knowledge about something to have an opinion about it. I find that social media has made us feel like we have to have opinions on absolutely everyone, including other people's lives and how they run them, which is strange and honestly a waste of time. And so, in the great words of the man in the red jumper on election day in Kenya, in our last elections, remember that guy? He was interviewed about his thoughts about the election, and he literally said in Kiswahili, "Sina maoni," basically meaning, I have no thoughts. It was also about like 5 a.m. when he was being interviewed, and I was like, who has thoughts at 5 a.m., please? Number 3, you are in the driver's seat of your life. You ultimately decide what you want to change about yourself, what you want to achieve. It all boils down to you. You can ask all the people you want to ask for advice, but ultimately, you make the decision, and this is a beautiful truth. It's not a harsh truth. It's beautiful because you have everything within you to be able to steer the ship that is your life. I think we often let people's opinions or even the expectations of us drive our lives, which is just such a waste of time. You decide the type of life you will live, what you will do with this life, what you need to be healthy, whether it's mentally, spiritually, or physically. You decide. Number 4, the older you get, the more necessary it is to arm yourself with humility. I found this to be so true. Because as we get older, we get set in our ways and we can easily start to think that we know it all and there's nothing anyone can teach us. I've found humility to be an important ingredient for growth. You've got to be humble enough to know there's so much more for you to learn. And so approach people with this curiosity. I've learned not only from adults, but from children even. In fact, our next Midweek Tease was inspired by something I learned from a 3-year-old. Take up a sport, learn an instrument or a language. Find ways to remind yourself to be curious. And humility has played a huge role for me in this. Number 5. You are deserving of all good things. I spent my 20s and my early 30s pandering to friends, family, intimate partners, because I just didn't think I was worthy of light, love, and ease. When you survive trauma, you not only doubt that good things can happen, but that you're deserving of the good things. And so, speaking of birthdays, I spent my previous birthdays waiting for everyone around me to celebrate me. I'd even try and control it, come over for lunch. Here's a list of gift ideas when you're buying my gift, And I lied to myself that I was making it easier for them when in reality, I was trying to avoid a situation where they didn't celebrate me because it would mean that narrative I had about being unworthy was true. Now, what I've come to realize is I should be top of the list celebrating myself, deciding what celebrating myself even looks like. And for me, it looks like taking myself away for a few days, mini holiday. It took me a long time to pay for this trip because there was just this voice in my head that kept saying, I'm not worthy of it. Even though financially I could afford it, I could work my work around it. And I was like, what is this voice? What is this voice? And it was literally trying to tell me that I wasn't worthy to celebrate myself the way I wanted to celebrate myself. After I paid for it, I realized I didn't even talk about my birthday much to the people around me. All the love I've ever needed has been within me. Everything else is great, but it's just a bonus. Number 6. A huge part of self-love is what you feed your body and the experts you tap into to help you feed your body better. So I am careful about what I listen to, be it music, interviews, podcasts, what I ingest in terms of news. I love ingesting things that entertain me, yes, but also leave me having learned something or feeling good. I've even found that the films and the series I'm now watching, I will have full-on conversations with my person about it afterwards, because that's just how inspiring these things are. I try very hard not to ingest anything that's putting other people down unless the person is ruto. And I also feed my physical body what it needs in terms of diet, but also tap into a wonderful doctor who ensures internally all is well with me. I give my body enough sleep. I move my body every morning. And I do all this because I love myself. Self-love. Number 7. You will not find me anywhere that makes me feel bad about myself. I minimize contact with people who trigger me or consistently fail to see me. In fact, there's 2 relationships that, as I crossed further into my 30s, completely nipped them in the bud. My comfort mentally is supreme. And as a grown woman, I will not be anywhere that leaves me feeling bad about myself. No thanks. Number 8, be graceful with yourself as you heal, as you shed harmful habits. You learned to do these things and you did these things for years. So it's going to be difficult to change. It's going to take time. So when you slip up, don't shit on yourself. Instead, soothe yourself into getting back on the betterment trail. I've found that shame is absolutely useless in changing behavior. So don't do that to yourself. I think grace and love can work more wonders. Number 9, you will lose friends. And that's fine. It's not a crisis. You are expanding and changing. You're learning how to advocate for your needs and even how to recognize the spaces where perhaps you were overperforming, people pleasing. And as you heal parts of you, you realize that those spaces need to go. And that's fine. Let them go. It doesn't have to be drama or a fight. And lastly, number 10, love. Love loudly. Love recklessly. There is no such thing as a safe love. There is no such thing as wasted love. To love is beautiful and courageous. When you love boldly, it grows you. Yes, there can be pain with love. There can be anxiety, but love anyway. There's no shame in that. It's one of this life's gifts to us to love and to be able to receive love too. Thanks for listening to the Mid-Week Tease, a Legally Clueless Africa production. Episodes go out every Wednesday, and you can learn more about us by going to legallycluelessafrica.com.